Okay, let's talk about this madness, what's happening in UFC at the moment. It seems that the heavyweights are loving good eye pokes at the moment. There seems to be sort of endless drama, especially back-to-back weekends, which is kind of crazy. You couldn't really write it, but I guess the MMA gods have got different ideas. We all know what happened with Tom Aspinall. We're not really going to go into the depths and the weeds of that today. We're going to talk, or I'm going to talk specifically about people's reactions to this and comparing Cortez Acosta's eye poke last night to Tom Aspinall's of last week. And to be fair on Aspinall, he's had so much backlash this last 7 days over the eye poke. And you've got all the armchair experts coming out who are supposed doctors telling him what he should or shouldn't be able to do and saying that he faked his eye poke and he should have been okay to continue. And it scares the shit out of me. Humanity scares the shit out of me, how dumb most people are. Honestly, it's just people have a narrative and they run with it. They don't even step back and look outside of themselves or look outside the box and actually question things and say, okay, let me challenge that thought. People are just thinking one-dimensionally, and that is just a bad way to live your life, period. But when you're talking things like this, so subjective things in sport like this, controversial things, you have to question it. You don't just get your first idea and run with it unless you're a 12-year-old. It really scares me. And I'm talking about UFC fighters as well, MMA fighters in general. 80% are just dumb. That's just the way it is. But they're not putting a good message out because people listen to the likes of these fighters because they look up to them. And they think what they say is gospel when it couldn't be further from the truth. You have to remember that most fighters just aren't incredibly intelligent people. They're just not. So we know what happened last night, and everyone's now saying that Cortez Acosta is this savant and he's this knight in shining armor. And look, if he did it, Tom Aspinall could do it. And that is like comparing apples and pears. Two totally different situations and two totally different eye pokes. And you know this as well. People watching this and who saw the fights know this, but they're choosing to just create this narrative and run with it and not try and question it. And not it's just fucking so alarming how people are like, well, it's an eye poke's an eye poke, bro. So like, Aspinall faked it. I mean, look at Stipe Miocic, it's just like fucking crazy. You've got the likes of Aljamain Sterling who's coming out saying, he thinks Tom... It's like, bro, you literally won an Oscar when you fell back. You seem to forget that. If anyone's not believable, you're not believable. It scares me because I don't have to explain it like I'm talking to a 10-year-old to say all eye pokes are not created equal. And that's all it comes down to. But it seems incredibly hard work for most of the public who like MMA to understand this basic concept of just all eye pokes are not created equal. Just like all punches or all jabs or all kicks do not land the same. It's basic shit. You don't have to be a scholar to understand this. I just think people are saying, well, there's no argument. The only argument they're saying, if they're saying that Aspinall and Acosta are equally measured, what they're basically saying is that all eye pokes are created equal. You just have to look at both eye pokes to tell they are universes apart. That's like saying a paper cut and a knife wound are identical because both break the skin. Pretty much the same, right? One will sting you and probably heal in a day or two. The other could end your night or your entire career. Right? It's not rocket science, people. So I don't know if you're just doing it for clout. I don't know if people are genuinely dumb. I think they are. To even believe this bullshit to say they're equal eye pokes and that Aspinall's faking this. You've got to remember as well, Cortez Acosta was very smart last night after that happened. If this never happened to Aspinall last weekend, he would not have reacted the way he did. He was screaming out loud, rolling around, coming out, pretending he's this, warrior and this champion. He's milking it. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's doing it because he wants to play the role. He's doing a bit. And he wants more fans and more public, people watching MMA, the community, to get on his side to say, you're a real one and Tom Aspinall's fake. And he's also doing it to try and single out Aspinall to make him sound like he's a fraud. And it's a pretty smart marketing ploy for Cortez Acosta. I've got to hand it to him. But if people believed him yelling and screaming out last night was authentic, you're out of your mind. The guy was playing a role. He was doing a bit. And it was a good bit. It really was a good bit. But you've got to look at the eye pokes. Cortez Acosta absolutely got eye poked last night. But it was more of a flick and a scratch than it was compared to Aspinall's. Aspinall's was a deep poke to the back of his eye, literally to the back. You can put them side by side to see. I'm not talking crap. And if you can't see the difference and watch the difference in the eye pokes and understand that they are entirely different things, I don't know what to say. What more evidence do you need? How can you come out with an argument to say that all eye pokes are created equal and that Aspinall is a fraud and that Cortez Acosta had the same amount of damage as Aspinall? Completely different eye pokes. Completely different. The thing that gets me is that most people who have this narrative can't even cope when they accidentally scratch their cornea by putting the contact lenses in. Yet there's a fucking guy here in Cyril Garn who's what, 240, 250 or something, ramming his fucking fingers down the back of your skull. But that's not acceptable. Yet you're bitching and crying when you scratch your cornea by putting your contact lens in. Come on, people. You know better than that. It just scares me. It scares me that people think this way. It scares me that you can't clearly see the difference in the eye pokes. And Tom apparently still can't see properly. Now, I don't know Aspinall. I know where he's from because I'm not from far from that area where he lives. And I can tell you, people like that who grow up around there where I'm from, they don't fuck about. And I know people are people, and that's not real evidence I'm giving you, but I'm telling you, he wouldn't fake it. He's just not built that way. If you're from the north, you know that. So please stop comparing this fucking stupid eye pokes together because they're just universes apart. Yes, Cortez Acosta got eye pokes. No one's denying that. But you can tell, and you don't have to be a doctor or an eye surgeon or a specialist to know the difference in severity between the eye pokes. I mean, you've got Bisping, who, first of all, his sight got fucked because he said it was from a kick from Belfort, right? He was juiced up to the gills back in the day. Everyone reacts differently. But it's clear to see that Cortez Acosta's eye poke last night was not even in the same stratosphere as Aspinall's. So it's time to wake up, people. It really is time to wake up and just admit that all eye pokes are not created equal, and that's okay. And I commend Cortez Acosta. I do. For getting up and carrying on. But it doesn't automatically make him a hero and make Tom Aspinall this villain.